everyone. Thank you. Welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today I'm sitting down with the cast from Aquaman. The action-packed film tells us the origin story of half-human, half-Atlantean Arthur Curry, who follows his journey to becoming the king of Atlantis. Today I'll be joined by Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, Patrick Wilson, and director James Wan. But first, here's a trailer from Aquaman.
Legend has it that one day, a new king will come who will use the power of the trident to put Atlantis back together again.
It's the exact spot that Volko gave me my first swimming lesson.
I already know how to swim.
Not even close. You have to forget all the teaching of the surface world. Go deeper. To uncover your Atlantean instincts. He spent his entire life training. Training to be the best.
My parents made me what I am. I am the protector of the deep.
In this trident resides the power of Atlantis. In the wrong hands, it would bring destruction. But in the hands of the true heir, it would unite above and below.
The time has come for Atlantis to rise again.
You must stop him.
And how do you propose we do that?
By retrieving this.
I already got one of those.
Not like this one, you don't.
The war is coming to the surface, whether you like it or not.
Your mother always knew you were special. She believed you'd be the one to unite our two worlds.
Atlantis has always had a king. Now I need something more.
But what could be greater than a king?
A hero.
Everyone help me welcome James Wan, Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and Patrick Wilson. Can you feel that love, that Aquaman love? This is such a big movie. So many people are excited about it. When you hear that sort of response, does it hit you yet like that you guys are going to get to show this to the world?
It's starting to sink in.
Yeah. It's such a big movie.
Yeah, it's definitely sinking in. Everyone's been awesome, and I've never, there's so much passion here right now, so. Yeah.
I love it. And James, let's kind of go back to the beginning because I know Aquaman, it kind of took a long time to get to this point. So when did you become a part of this and why was it something you wanted to be a part of?
I think it was about 2.5 to 3 years ago when I was, before I started Conjuring 2. You know, yes, Conjuring, the Conjuring universe. With Patrick Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. No, I mean, listen, you know, he's such an iconic character, been around for a long time. But the fact that he's never been done before, and that was what kind of drew me to the project, and the opportunity to do a superhero character and play in this world that's never been done before. That was very exciting.
And let's talk about Aquaman, because I love that it stays so true to the comic, but you also bring a little bit of Jason in it. So tell me about developing Aquaman, Arthur.
Well, I think it's encouraged by Zach and by James to put little pieces of myself and within the film. I've never actually put this much of myself in a film before, but it seemed to work. I normally don't smile and giggle and laugh, but thanks, James. Now the world knows I smile, so... It was nice to you know, just be playful and encourage that, because we want it for the families and for kids, and I had fun, and you know, him building the script and the whole world, it just is a big, beautiful, fun journey that you don't want to be grumpy through it. So you know, he's like, I need to be looking at this world. I mean, you watch it, it's awesome. So
And I read that you actually connected to that story of living in two different worlds. I know you're from Iowa. I'm from Nebraska, so I can relate. So
We're
tell
in
me,
Nebraska.
Omaha.
Yeah, we're right.
Yeah, so
right
we
next
both
door.
got out. That's good. But tell me about kind of developing him, kind of using your own background.
Yeah, I mean, not that it's necessary as being an actor, but I think it's definitely something that I relate to. You know, we come from a very small town in Iowa where everyone's very happy to be there, and it's, you know, homegrown and beautiful family and hardworking. And then Hawaii's, you know, on the Hawaiian homestead land, it's very Hawaiian, and they're not going anywhere either, and they love where they're at. So I just, you know, neither of them know those worlds, and so I definitely got to have the honor of going between the two of them and taking a little bit of the best from both.
And Amber, your character, Mira, I love her so much. She's such a badass. She kicks so much ass in this film. So tell me about her. What is her journey like in this film?
Well, you said it right there. She's badass, and I love that. I love seeing a superhero who's strong, empowered, motivated, very much her own superhero, will-driven, intelligent, and, you know, is also, despite being fierce and strong, is also a woman. And yes, exactly. So I feel really lucky that I worked with filmmakers that wanted to protect her integrity, her strength, and didn't want to take from that to justify or to feed into, you know, some formula we've already seen a million times. This is very much a different take, and she's her own superhero. I like that.
And in a lot of times, she kind of helps out Aquaman, right?
She saves me.
I didn't want to give anything away, but
many times.
she's the driving force in a lot of the scenes with him. So is that
Should
something
switch this out where she's in front of.
But Mary is very much the one to motivate and kind of drive the whole, you know, the whole story, the start of the story. She figures out really quick what needs to be done, and she takes action. And she's the one who, you know, brings Aquaman out of Arthur. So really cool, important role.
Have you at all considered dyeing your hair because it worked? I'm just saying.
No, I'm sorry. I wanted to burn that wig at the end of filming, to be honest.
They get hot, right? It's just like, come on.
Oh, yeah, and imagine, you know, how much hair it takes to kind of get that superhero kind of effect. Like, you have to have super hair, and none of that is mine. We can't all
I know what you mean.
We can't all be Jason.
Ow.
He has me beat on the hair flip.
Yeah, well, hey.
And Patrick, you play Ocean Master Orm, a villain that really got to me. I really did not like your character, which is like a real testament to your performance.
You liked me, right? Well, thank you.
Yeah. So you get to play a villain in a DC movie.
Yeah.
What did that feel like?
Pretty fantastic, you know. For me, I didn't grow up reading comics, so I was really defined by movies. So when I think of, you know, for me, it was watching Christopher Reeve and watching Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, really, to my hero and my villain. So for me, honestly, when I see, what's your name, by the way? Braden, when I see Braden here, and I think for him, he's going to grow up with this guy as Aquaman. That's so exciting to me because, yeah, no pressure, Jason. Don't screw it up for him. It's so much fun, and I think what was really fun about Orm is that you get a real insight into why he's doing it, and he's an eco-warrior at heart and trying to get back. It's not just about world domination with him. He's very angry at the surface world for destroying his oceans, which certainly ocean conservancy and taking care of our oceans is something I'm sure we all agree we need to deal with. So he just happened. That's a real nice sort of theme that Orm's got going. So how he goes about it is, you know, kind of questionable. That's what makes him a great villain.
I do love the preservation aspect that's in the film, and I didn't know that was coming. And so can you take me through that script and the decision to make that major conflict between the humans on Earth really kind of trashing the ocean and then the Atlantis people being fed up about it?
Yeah, I think I don't think you can make an Aquaman movie and not sort of touch on the environmental message of it all. You know, just from the decades of comic book material, you know, the character was always, you know, protecting fishermen, protecting the ocean, you know, stopping polluters and stuff like that. So that was something that was important for myself and my writers to get that theme into this film.
Yeah, Aquaman's always had that. It's interesting that they leave the pollution side up to the villain because it's almost cathartic. Because even if you don't, we're not supposed to like him the whole time. I get it, and he's the villain, the antagonist of the film. But I think that when you leave it up to the villain to do something noble, the villain is able to do it in an irrational way. But I think the audience kind of secretly likes those moments where we just shove everything back at the surface.
Yeah, I mean, it just like what Patrick's saying, it just gives it so much to let the villain do it. You just get so much more drama with it, just so much more visual interest. And plus, it makes him a more interesting, antagonist. He's not just a cutout villain. Yeah.
And you were able to create this underground or underwater world that felt like space in so many ways. And so when they're zooming through, you're like, oh my God, this underwater world is fantastic. What were the special effects are amazing.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I'm a product. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. And so, I grew up with people like great filmmakers like Spielberg, Lucas, Tim Burton, Jim Cameron, and all that. And so naturally, those guys, their films rubbed off on me growing up. And so I definitely have that sort of kind of built in my DNA. But really, I pulled most of the inspiration from the comic books. And the comic books, in a lot of ways, just has that kind of vibrancy. And it was basically kind of like, like a space saga, but underwater in a lot of ways. And so there's shades of sort of Star Wars sort of meets Lord of the Rings. And that was something that we wanted to, just sort of lean into.
Have you guys seen the film yet?
Yes.
So what was your first reaction to seeing what was created at the end?
Well, I mean, for me, it's amazing because I don't normally you don't get this opportunity often as an actor because you were there. So you remember making it, you remember what it looked like and how you felt. And in this case, so much of it was out of the mind of James Swan. We didn't get that privilege to see it really, certainly not in that scale when we were filming. So watching it was kind of like truly like an audience seeing it for the first time was really amazing. I felt like a kid again. Like at the theater, or when you're a kid and you're taking on this adventure, it felt like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've ever, any of us have been a part of a film where so much of it was left up to post-production. So much of my movie is underwater, and so we're shooting it in a blue screen. And for me, I was doing some strange little avant-garde theater on wires. And then I went, oh, that's what we did.
It was pretty challenging for me because he looked ridiculous all the time. And I had to keep a straight face, but but not scary at all, looked goofy, so.
You haven't seen the movie yet, right?
I haven't, no.
Can you tell us why?
Because I'm waiting for my babies.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I'm going to wait. But it's going to be amazing. We don't get to see, my kids have never been to an IMAX theater. They've never seen anything this big. And I can't even imagine what it's going to be like for them or what it's going to be like for me. So just to be sitting next to them, it's going to be.
And I imagine a lot of the stuff that you've made in the past, kind of hard for them to watch, right?
Yeah.
I'm imagining they're not watching Game of Thrones, probably.
Ever.
But your kids got to come on set and kind of see the action in.
Yeah,
progress,
they
right?
were definitely raising havoc on set. They the little Momoas. Go play. We're number one. We're finally number one. Destroy.
Number one of the
no one
cold
can say anything. Go.
Let's talk about on set because you guys are floating through much of the movie, but you obviously weren't actually underwater. So take me through the rigs you had to put on every day and what that felt like.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Floating sounds so gentle and sweet and
so elegant.
That was the end result was to make it look like we were floating. But we had about 4 or 5 different types of harnesses, and whether you're on wires or this thing we called a tuning fork, and then there was the mambo, and there was all sorts of different devices that would sort of fly us around the room to make it look like we were swimming. So it took certainly a team of people, a team of stunt guys, and a lot of core work for us. Yeah, to pull it off.
It's like holding a plank, but then having to then look like you're underwater with your body movements and then also have a conversation and or fight invisible monsters or, guards and then do it while looking like this is normal. This is just all normal.
Better than everyone.
Was it physically taxing? Like at the end of the day, were you exhausted? Because it seems like it would be.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it took its toll for sure. It's no one's ever. You're fighting gravity all day long. There's there's parts of my body I didn't have. I like have a gigantic butt all the way up my back, just from, like muscles I never had before.
What kind of physical prep did you guys have to do for this? Because the fight scenes are also very intense, highly choreographed. So what kind of work goes into that?
Yeah, I mean, we all trained for a long time. I think even Jason has done so much stunt work before. It pushed all of us to the limits, I think, of any movie we'd ever done. Certainly for me, it took about 4 months prior to it, and I wanted to gain weight and get as big as I could to be a formidable opponent and so it didn't look ridiculous, us trying to fight each other. So camera can only do so much. So so I did. I wanted to fill the suit, and we all then learned different training methods and learning how to fight with tridents and things like that, and then
Normal
hanging
stuff.
wires while you're doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed nobody brought a trident today.
They won't let
He breaks
Jason
them.
have his trident back. He keeps breaking them.
See him, I break him.
Amber, how about for you? What did that training process?
Like Patrick said, we all did started many months before actually filming the movie. We I did what they did starting around December when we were going to go shoot in May, and mine I had so many different kinds of trainings going on, and because I'm not trying to bulk up, but I wanted to be very strong, I had to do a lot of cardio just to keep the size down, because when you're working that hard and you're on the kind of nutrition plan I just kept getting muscly, and I was like, guys, this is it might be a good look for a different movie, but there's going to be a point where this is not a good look anymore. But I did some martial arts training. I studied under this master who trained me in wushu, which is a certain kind of very fluid, it has a lot of fluid movement and stuff like that, so it looked like I could fight at all, and more or less in water, under the sea. And my character is a warrior, so I needed to be able to pull that off.
You did a very good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think to credit these guys too. I've had a pretty strong career at doing stunts, and I've never ever. I think if I put all my career together, this would equal the amount of stunts I did in Aquaman. So we had a lot. There's a lot of action, and like I said, we're breaking through and some new. The wire work's never been done before. Being able to shoot underwater like this and make it look like that is probably couldn't do it 5 years ago. So, there's a lot of new stuff coming out.
Do you use the same stunt team for your different projects?
I love using 8711. They've been my stunt team since Conan and like Game of Thrones, and they trained me for lots and lots of things. So that's what we use in this, and I could spend the rest of my life being with those guys.
Let's talk too about the rest of the cast. Like, it starts off with Nicole Kidman, and you're like, whoa, I didn't actually realize she was in the film, and then Willem Dafoe. So what is it getting to play with all these different actors and these different scenes? Because you have a couple really good scenes with both of them, actually.
I think that's one of the greatest scenes I've ever done was with Amber on the beach. With Amber. You were amazing too. Yes, you were laying there with Amber and Nicole. But to run up the beach to try to save her and be like in kill mode, and then see my mother for the first time is an extremely hard scene to do. And whoops.
Starburst just dropped out of his pocket.
He stole a whole box.
Just if you guys can't tell, it's contraband.
How'd that get there? Braden, stop throwing things at me.
Come on, he skipped school.
But yeah, she's unbelievable. Every take we would do, it was
right.
Even off camera and on camera was always new. I mean, you could put all the takes she did up, and they were completely new and vibrant and different and intelligent, and it's just that's why she's an Oscar winner, and probably will be another one this year.
I mean, yeah. To add to that, Nicole is amazing. The movie obviously has a lot of romance in it. There's a love story to it. It's obviously a love story between Arthur and Mera, but it was important for me to get the love story of Mum and Dad right as well, because the relationship between Mum and Dad is the reason why Arthur is around, and I love the idea of a surface dweller falling in love with an Atlantean, and they're both fish out of water, and then they come together, and love is blind, and I think that's really cool, and yeah, Nicole just brings such a she's the emotional heartbeat for the film.
And it was a movie that was very serious, very heartfelt. I want to know, what was the set like? Because you guys are wearing a lot of spandex and you're doing all this action. Like, I'm sure, were there any funny mishaps or any fun stories you'd like to share with us?
I don't know. It's funny. Usually when we were on set, because it was all certainly the stunts. Like, you're not joking around when you're doing stunts. I mean, if anything, for me, when I think back at that time, for me, all the fun and the camaraderie happened mostly in the gym, because we had this amazing gym built with a rock wall. Watch him go up a rock wall is insane. We had instruments and drum sets, guitars. He's learning bass. We're all working out on various machines, because that was where he could just sort of let go, even though we're all working really hard in there. So I'm not sure a ton of mishaps. And we're also right next to a roller coaster, so that was fun. The day when they opened a new roller coaster while we were there. That was cool, right?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
We timed it. Like, in 2 minutes, I could be on the Batman ride from my trailer.
Literally, our sound stage is where we shot the film is like right next to a roller coaster theme park. So that was pretty cool.
He mentioned the rock climbing, and I did see a scene in the film where you got to kind of use that. Was that fun for you to kind of bring in like your passion into the film?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never had the opportunity to do that yet. Yeah, there's a spot where I'm falling off the building in Sicily, and I grab the edge and throw a little rock climbing flair in there.
I saw it. It was good. Well, I know the audience cannot wait to ask you guys questions, so let's go to them. Who do we have first?
Braden.
What is it like getting a call from the director saying that you're in the movie?
Here, take this while you...
Another one.
Jason's handing out.
Jason is.
Jason's the Easter Bunny.
What's it like getting called by a director to tell me I got the movie?
Yeah.
It is extremely surreal, because for this one, it was challenging because I had to keep it a secret for 2 years. But originally, when I'm in the office, I'm like, ah! Very happy. It's like winning something, because as an actor, you're kind of always unemployed. So you can be fired at any time, and the job security is pretty lame, and so when you have something like this that you can see with it in front of your future, that you're gonna put food on the table, it's awesome.
That's great.
Thank you.
Good question. Next one.
That was a great question.
Who has the next question?
Hi, guys. Hello. Hi. So first of all, I saw the movie on the premiere at Saturday. It was absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to be watching it multiple times to actually understand everything, because it was just, there was so much. But my question was, what was the most difficult scene to film? Because there were so many like action packs, but also like you're floating. So like that was insane. So what was the most difficult scene?
I think for me it was some of the action sequences that happened while we were in those harnesses we were talking about earlier, the rigs, and we had to be, say, commanding an army or in an important battle to save the world, or looking for your newfound love amidst all this aquatic carnage that you cannot see while being suspended by these wires, and in my case, I'd have to get on and off my steed, which was a whale.
Killer whale.
A killer whale. And then having to do that while you're just really surrounded by green screens, or blue screens in our case, and alone, fighting no one and yelling at no one. It's a little weird.
I think for me, probably our gladiator scene, which the Coliseum fight, which I feel like we're still going to go back and do reshoots. It just kept coming. Like, I feel like we trained for it in like April. We shot it partly in June, and now we're going back to it in July. And we would just sort of go into our tent, and if I saw that costume, I just went, oh God, we're shooting that today. Like, it just never ended. So it's like technically one scene of a few minutes, but I feel like it is weeks and weeks and weeks of work.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's usually what happens, to put these sequences together. It just takes so much time, so much effort, and just take after take and days after days to get it together. And as you've pointed out, this movie has a lot of action scenes in it. I wanted to make a really exciting action film, and wanted to design action sequences that you kind of haven't quite seen before. And and whether that's underwater or the sort of the Italian fishing village sequences with Black Manta, played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen, and it's these scenes are super cool to design, but they're pretty hard to shoot.
Yeah. Well, they happen in unorthodox places, like you mentioned the one in Italy. I don't want to give it away, but I was like, I've never seen a fight scene that extensive in a place like that. So good for you. Amber, I want to point out really quick, you have the orange ribbon on. I know that has an important meaning. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, it's in support of the UN initiative or campaign, international campaign to support the elimination of violence against women or gender-based violence, which started on November 25th, which is the International Day for Prevention of and Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Yeah, I love that. Also love that you're wearing that and you're playing such a strong female character. Like, it's really, really important.
This is the time.
Yeah.
Hear me too.
Absolutely. And next question.
Hi. So I love how the costumes are so close to the comics. I was wondering how comfortable they were to wear and how easy it was to, or hard it was to act in them. And I know, Patrick, you've wore a costume in Watchmen. Was this easier or harder?
How are the costumes?
I mean, they have come a long way, and I think even if Michael Keaton were here talking about Batman, he would laugh as well. So they do make advances, and certainly the actual costume you're able to move in it pretty well. I will say that. The tough thing for me was, you got a harness under it because when you're dangling around, or on wires, that is, or the armor that's put on. That's when your movability becomes kind of tough.
Jason, what was it like for you to put on the Aquaman uniform for the first time?
It was pretty cool because it was, I knew we weren't going to do it for Justice League. He wasn't there yet, and it was going to happen in Aquaman, and it was very, very important to James. And we went through some different looks, and the final moment when it all happened, I didn't have a mirror. James was in my dressing room. I was just...
I'm always in his dressing room, just
like,
dressing him up,
yeah.
making sure he looks good.
The best part is that we both get really happy and we were very animated, and he was really quiet, but it kind of his face was like a kid, and he smiled through his eyes, and I knew it was it. And then I FaceTimed my children, and I took a picture, and my daughter's eyes were just like, they were so stoked. So that's when you hit a home run. Because they were really, really happy.
What are the rules with that? Can he keep it and pass it on to his kids, or?
No.
I was asking for you. I don't know.
No, they will.
And last question before we go.
My sister wanted me to ask you about your workout routine, but you kind of answered that, so I get the teacher question. I'm super excited that you're tackling the environment in some way in this film, and you with your causes with women empowerment. What kinds of things would you like your character to tackle in the sequel?
I'm really excited that he's finally the king of Atlantis, and I think there's a couple things with becoming king. May not be ready for it, but still, there's a lot of power there in his hands, and it can slide both ways. And also, I got my whole family back. My brother's still alive. I think there's some things I can still learn from him, and we can learn from each other. And my mom and my dad are back together, so that's cool. And there's I might be able to make one of these gold guys. You know what I mean? A little Aqua lad. You know what I mean?
We'll edit.
Aqua Bay.
We'll do a bit of editing.
See, if we would have given you a trident, that wouldn't have happened.
You would have given me.
He breaks things.
I'm just saying.
If you would have given me in a grown-up chair.
I know.
Like the throne I belong. I'm just sitting there the whole time, like, oh God, don't break anything. So I'm like, next time I come back, I want a throne.
Yeah. We can do that. We can do that. Well, guys, this was so much fun. Like I said, I got to see the film. It was this amazing ride. The film is so big, and I know that fans are going to love it. If you guys want to check it out, Aquaman's in theaters on December 21st. Please give it up for James Wan, Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and Patrick Wilson. Woo!